In this section, we want to take a look at some problems that involve fractional exponents and do some arithmetic with them, like multiplication and division. Here's our first problem. I have a to the 1/2 times the quantity a to the 3/2 minus a to the 1/2. I'm going to apply the distributive property to multiply a to the 1/2 times the first term and times the second term. So here I'll have a to the 1/2 times a to the 3/2. I'm going to add exponents. 1/2 plus 3/2 is 4/2. And then a to the 1/2 times a to the 1/2, I'll have a to the 1/2 plus 1/2, which is 2/2. Now I didn't reduce these right here. I'm going to do that in the next step. A to the 4/2 will be a to the second power minus a to the 2/2 is going to be a to the 1, which is a. Now I can reduce any of these exponents to lowest terms anytime I want, as long as I'm assuming that this variable is a positive quantity, which I'm doing. So anytime we see fractional exponents with on variables like this, we're going to assume that those variables represent positive quantities. Here's our next problem. X to the 3/2 plus 4, that quantity to the second power. So I'm going to treat this the same way I would treat a binomial. I'm going to square the first term, x to the 3/2 squared. Add to that twice the product of the two terms. 2 times 4 is 8, x to the 3/2. That's twice the product of these two terms, plus the last term squared, which will be 16. Now I can simplify here. X to the 3/2 to the second, I multiply exponents. 2 times 3/2 is going to be just 3. So I have x to the third plus 8x to the 3/2 plus 16. So this is just an exercise in applying our properties that we've had before to expressions that involve fractional exponents. So as you can see, we treat them in much the same way that we treated polynomials. Here's a division problem. Let's divide 18x to the 3/4 plus 27x to the 1/4 by 9x to the 1/4. So I'm going to use this distributive property for division here and divide the same way I did division by a monomial, and that is I'll divide each term in the numerator by that denominator. So I'm going to take this extra step here and write this out. Now when I divide here, 18 divided by 9 is 2. X to the 3/4 divided by x to the 1/4, I subtract exponents. 3/4 subtract 1/4 is 2/4, so I'm going to get x to the 2/4, which is 1/2. Now 27 divided by 9 is 3. X to the 1/4 divided by x to the 1/4 is 1. So there's my answer to this division problem. Again, I reduced an exponent here to lowest terms, assuming that this base represents a positive number.